Hello. To whom do I have the honor of speaking?
Desade. I'm the legate of the merchant congregation. Governor Buren told me to pay you a visit.
Oh. It is you who arrested Dr. Asili and must help me prepare the trial.
Exactly.
Excellent. We will have lots to do if we want the doctor to pay for his crimes. The accused has a lot of support. Any evidence and testimonies you can gather will be useful.
We'll have no problem gathering witnesses. His laboratory cells were full of them.
We will call them to the witness box, of course. But be aware that if the victims are natives, their words will unfortunately not carry much weight here.
There were also some noughts. Perhaps I could convince some of the doctor's colleagues to talk.
Their testimony will be crucial. The word of other scholars is likely to be the only thing that condemns him. That plus any material evidence you can gather.
I picked up a strange powder in the laboratory. A substance that I've not been able to identify.
You should show it to an alchemist. We need to know what it is to be able to use it.
These documents describe Dr. Asili's work, as well as the horrible experiments he was performing.
Perfect. I will read them in detail. We will no doubt find something to support my prosecution.
I have found a letter proving that Dr. Asili voluntarily transmitted the Malachor to my cousin, Constantin d'Orsay. I would like to add that I too was a victim of this poisoning.
Did the accused try to take the life of the governor of New Serene? This is an extremely serious crime.
Indeed. He saw my cousin and me as the ideal control group to prove his theories. And no humanitarian or diplomatic consideration could put a stop to his ambition.
This letter alone is crucial proof. I will put it on our file.
Do we have any chance of winning?
Yes, I am rather confident. You have provided overwhelming evidence. But if we had witnesses, we would have an even bigger chance of winning.
I will return to you soon. The Nauts should be at the port, and the islanders had to take refuge in Vikshadir. As for the scientists, they said they would go back to the governor's laboratory. I should give this powder to someone who can tell me what it is.
Desade, I'm happy to see you. At last. I hope there aren't too many other families like that in your congregation. It would be painful to have to deal with such devious methods once again. Still, Aurelia de Vespe is under lock and key and everything is back in order. Anything else?
I would like you to tell me about Asili.
I was expecting you to come and see me about this. What would you like to know?
Were you aware of Dr. Asili's experiments?
In part, yes. That's why I chose not to be his student any longer.
Why not say anything?
Because I never thought he would go so far. Over time, he became more and more cruel. I found his approach brutal. As if by meeting the natives it deprived him of all humanity. He spoke of them as test subjects, never as people. But there was a time when he was the greatest doctor and scientist in the Alliance. And I clung on to that memory.
You do know that you were captured thanks to him?
Yes, but I thought the natives wanted to trade us merely as prisoners of war. I was blind. And stupid. I regret it terribly.
Do you think, as your master does, that science justifies all sacrifices?
No. I may have believed that at one time, without of course ever imagining that we'd resort to such cruel treatment. But Dunkus, you and Siora have opened my eyes to the limits of science. To worship it as we do in the Alliance does not make us better than Thélème.
In your opinion, were the horrors practiced in this laboratory necessary for his research?
No, even if he was convinced of it. General interest outweighs the suffering of a few individuals. He wanted results quickly, to the point of neglecting slower, more humane methods. I hope we'll succeed in ensuring these experiments never happen again.
Would you be willing to testify against Dr. Asili during his trial?
Of course. I was going to talk to you about that. I want to convince my colleagues that we must give up these kind of methods. And even if it costs me dearly, I want my master to pay for what he did. Anything else?
I must leave you. Is everything all right?
Once again, thanks to you. These people wanted to kill me.
They certainly wanted to prevent you from testifying at the Doctor's trial.
The Doctor will be judged. I suppose you'd like me to testify about how we suffered.
Indeed. If you do not fear another attempt on your life by these men.
Don't worry. I won't put up with intimidation. From now on, my people will watch over me until I can testify. And I intend to witness the execution of our torturer. You can count on me.
Thank you. Your word will be crucial during the trial. I never thought I'd see you here again. Why are you still free?
Dr. Einer made sure that I was set free. He needed my help. What do you want?
What is your purpose here?
I helped Dr. Einer to understand the research of my former master. He's the one who became his successor.
I do hope that he doesn't use the same methods.
Of course not.
What about your other colleagues? What's become of them?
They felt guilty. They stopped their experiments and returned to Al-Sad.
What do the other scholars think of Dr. Asili now that his actions have been revealed for all to see?
Most still admire him greatly. He was the greatest amongst us, you know? They didn't witness what was happening in the lab, and they have little interest in the natives. For them, the main problem is political, given that the war against the rebels cost us dearly. Until they understand the horrors that happened there, they will not have any moral issues.
I discovered this strange powder in one of the laboratory's chests. Do you know what it is?
I did see the doctor using it once or twice, but I don't know what it is. But I can study it for you if you want. I have the tools that will allow me to do so here.
So, what is it?
It is a quintessence of black blood. Probably created using the blood of numerous patients. The doctor managed to harness the very concept of the Malachor in this powder. A single pinch ingested by someone would be enough for them to be afflicted by the disease. With the quantities that you brought me, hundreds of people could be contaminated. It's terrifying. I cannot believe Asili would do such a thing. Here, these are my notes. I wrote down all the details of my experiments, as well as my conclusions.
Thank you. I will relay them to the prosecutor. Are you prepared to testify against Dr. Asili?
I would like to say no. You had me thrown in prison, and without Dr. Einer's intervention, I would still be there. But I can't stop thinking about what we did in that laboratory. I think only by testifying will I ease my conscience.
Thank you. Your story could change the outcome of this trial. I must leave you. What she saw working alongside Asili obviously upset her. She will make an excellent witness.
Dr. Einer, what do you want?
What do you think of Dr. Asili now that you've learned how he conducted his research?
Well, obviously the few excesses he has conceded himself are unfortunate, but he remains the greatest scientist that the Alliance has ever known. His work has had a profound effect on science. It seems quite unfair to me to reduce his life's work just to what he has done lately.
If I understand correctly, you will be one of his defenders.
Naturally. I don't deny that he made a terrible mistake, but he meant well. And he was probably acting on behalf of our helplessness to combat the Malachor.
What is your role and what is your research topic?
I'm in charge of the governor's laboratories. My main research concerns the Malachor, of course. Above all, we searched for a way to reduce the suffering of the sick.
Searched?
Now that we have access to my colleague Asili's work, it gives us hope of finding a cure.
So the crimes he committed while conducting his work do not concern you?
He will be judged for that. But it would be a shame for him to have done all this for nothing.
Would you agree to speak at the trial? Your influence could be crucial.
Oh, but I already intended to give a statement. His lawyer came to find me.
So are you ready to defend a man who used to torture and murder to advance his research?
Indeed, because I think the entire work of a scientist should not be judged on a single mistake. It is obvious that he should not have used such methods, but Asili has never been very political. I doubt he understood the implications of his actions.
So you're saying the only problem in this case is political?
Essentially, yes. The war he nearly caused could have been expensive for our governor and the city, but let's not fool ourselves. No tears will be shed over the fate of a few of those bloodthirsty savages.
What interest do you have in defending Dr. Asili? You've obviously taken his place since his arrest. I understand that you admired him a lot, but under his tutelage you could not really impose your own ideas. Well, now you finally have a chance to leave your own mark on history.
You were not wrong, but I find it rather unlikely that he will be sentenced.
I have gathered a lot of damning evidence against him. And with your testimony...
I could finally publish my research on fountain contamination. Very well, you've convinced me. I will now testify for the prosecution. It is true that it's time to turn the page and leave his cruel methods behind.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Einur is an influential scholar. His testimony would convince the judges.